Hello and welcome to another episode of Walking with Walfinch. I'm joined today by the very wonderful Tim Morris. And Tim Morris is the founder of Pinnacle. Welcome,
right.
Tim.
Thank you, Amrit, and I really appreciate the invite. This is great. And look at the beautiful day to be doing this in a beautiful setting as well.
We were very panicked it was going to be raining. But
Yes,
you've all the sunshine. So, so what is Pinnacle?
So Pinnacle I founded a couple of years ago now, after many, many years in franchising. And I'd realized that a number of years ago when I was working for a big global education franchise brand that top performing franchisees had specific skills, and also we as franchisors, quite often we leave the top performers to get on and do their thing because they are working the brand as well as they possibly can be. They're not giving us any challenges. But what I realized is that there was so much more for those top performers to give.
Yeah.
You give them the right support, the right structure around them, invest a little bit more in them, a little bit more time, and those top performers can absolutely skyrocket, smash it out the ballpark. In fact, quite often further than a founder ever thought was possible or did do in the first place. So just moving that towards Pinnacle, I brought that knowledge and understanding that I'd got from working with franchisees around the world to bring that support to franchisors in the UK to create groups of franchisees who could benefit from the structure of allowing them to think strategically and grow their businesses.
Wonderful. I mean, I think it's so interesting. As a former franchisee myself, I think, you're so right that actually when you're a top performing franchisee, as I can proudly say I was.
Yeah, me too when I was a franchisee.
I'll just get that right.
Yes, absolutely.
You are left to your own devices, and I don't blame franchisors for that. I understand it, that actually you create less noise, less problems, you pay on time, and so on. And actually you wear the brand. And often I had franchisees coming to me and saying, hey, what are you doing over there? How do I do that?
Yes.
I think culturally, certainly I found a lot in the UK, but culturally, we focus on the bottom 10% a lot.
Of course.
As opposed to focusing on the top 10%.
Yes.
So it's really interesting you say lots of different things can happen for those franchisees that are in that top 10 or 20%.
Yeah.
What sort of things could or should you be doing for those guys to then say, right, we can skyrocket? What is a toolkit? What is it? Is it, it's in-person meetings? What is it?
Yeah, well, first of all, it's actually, it's quite simple. And we do hear these words bandied around the sector quite regularly. It is about bringing these top performers together as a small, intimate group for them to be accountability coaches, their own peer group, and franchisors facilitate those generally in-person meetings where they share numbers, they share experiences, they create their own growth plans, they share ideas, and as I say, become accountability coaches to help them figure out what their potential is and how they're going to get there.
Yeah.
Very often, the franchisor can sit back and just facilitate. So no longer is it, this is what you have to do. There's the operations manual. This is how the model works. This is, let's have a conversation. You guys lead that conversation. I'll facilitate it, keep it on track for you. And if I hear that there is something specific that you may want to learn about, get more insights in, I'll make a note of that and I'll bring that resource in for you to learn from. Otherwise, it's over to you.
That's super interesting. I think we really thought about how we provide support, and we're constantly tinkering with that. And you and I have had various conversations over the years about that. And I find conceptually the support aspect of franchising really interesting because often we deliver supports to people that have just started because they are, high needs.
Yeah.
Now, first 18 months, 2 years, are absolutely high need. And so a lot of our time, effort, money, resource goes there.
Correct.
We just don't do the same thing with the guys in their 5th year, 10th year.
No.
Certainly not with the same vigor. And I think your whole point there about having those in-person meetings, actually something that you and I had a conversation about somewhere, sparked some thinking.
More than likely. Yeah. Absolutely. So
one of the things I was, we're working on this year is having a sort of growth accelerator program for our, top franchisees.
Yes.
And there's an entrance requirement in terms of revenue and so on.
Yes.
Yep. And I just wanted to understand from your side, what skill set or personality traits are in common with those people at the top? What have you found over the years? Because you've worked with hundreds of franchisees across sector and so on. I mean, what do you find is a common denominator?
Well, it is quite interesting. They all tend to possess a combination of what I call crucial competencies for business, which I can talk about a little bit more in a short while.
Yeah.
That could be customer care. It could be an understanding of your finances, financial literacy. It could be an ability to think strategically, just general business acumen. It could be an understanding of how to deal with customer complaints. It could be a real deep understanding of cultural diversity and inclusion. So you're maximizing your opportunity in your within your customer base. It could be their ability to focus their mind on a particular goal which they want to achieve. So effective goal setting in essence, and be able to drive that. So most of these top performers very few have all 12 of these crucial competencies which I've identified, but all of them will have a good combination of those, and they'll be able to help each other along that road. So they will come into the franchise with those skills. Which you may not have uncovered as a franchisor when you select them in the first place.
Yes.
Which is why we all go out to get the best franchisees. The slate is sort of the same level with every franchisee that comes in. Well, why is it that one goes to this level?
Yeah.
And some others stay at medium level?
Yeah.
It's because we haven't been able to uncover those crucial skills that they've got.
That's really interesting. So what you're saying is that everyone or most people have one of these crucial skills.
Yes.
And what we need to do is help evoke that.
Exactly. So let me just explain a little bit further. My original career was in the hotel industry.
Yeah.
And what did I learn? When I joined the hotel industry, I learned to be a waiter, I learned to be a pot wash, I learned to be a porter.
Yes.
I learned how to lay a table, make a bed.
Yes.
I did all of that. That's like our operations manual. This is how you do it. This is how you be a hotel professional. But then once I'd got those skills, which is what we teach our franchisees, then the company that I worked for started investing heavily in my business acumen skills, my interpersonal relationship skills, my customer care skills, my understanding of financial literacy. I was reporting on P&Ls line by line in a review meeting once a month with my general manager from my department. I understood a P&L by the time I was 21.
Wow. Wow.
And I understood the concept of a balance sheet, and I understood the concept of cost control. And so all of these things started to... I was a guy who left school at 16, went to college for a couple of years in Leicester to learn how to be a hotel person. And by the time I was 21, I was reading P&Ls, understand the balance sheet, creating budgets, forecasts, redoing forecasts, all of this type of thing.
Amazing.
So by the time I was 29, I was general manager of a hotel, managing the whole, 200-bedroom property and everything that goes with it. And then by the time I was 35, I think you're probably younger than me to become a franchisee.
I became franchisee when I just turned 26.
Okay. Right. Okay, cool. You were way ahead of me. 35, I became a franchisee. And by 36, I'd received Franchisee of the Year award.
Wow.
And by 37, I was one of the top 10% top performing franchisees.
Amazing.
But that was all about me having those, and my peers around me. We all had those skills that I've just been talking about.
Yeah.
There's nothing to brag about. It's just that we were taught those. You're not born with them generally. You taught them.
And I think that's the case with anything, with sales. And some people are naturally better at it than others and whatever, but you can build a process around that.
Correct.
I think there's lots and lots of different things there. I think if I think back to before I was a franchisee, I started my first business at 22.
Yes. Yeah.
And that gave me the skill set of understanding cash flow.
Right.
Not P&Ls and balance sheets, I've got to say, actually. And I didn't really start getting those until I became a franchisee.
Yeah.
And it was in restaurants as well, actually.
Yeah. I seem to remember that, yes.
But what I did understand was cash flow, and I understood that getting the money in was super important. And so when I became a franchisee, I sort of understood, well, how many days, months, weeks do I have left?
Yeah.
And that is one of the things I often find, that there's not that level of urgency. When I'm speaking to people, they don't have that urgency, and that urgency is the thing that can kill a business before it gets going, right?
Of course. So here's the thing with cash and cash flow, is your understanding of it early was key to your success.
Yeah.
Absolutely. It's been key to me throughout my life. I could tell you, if we've got time, a story of my daughter.
Yes, please.
It's key to her.
Yeah.
It has been since she was 20 years of age, 21.
Yeah.
That story. But this comes down to, why do so many franchisees not go on that trajectory of growth? And one of them, it's not a lack of understanding of cash flow, because they haven't been taught it. It's a fear of cash.
Yes.
If you were to dig down and ask those questions, but why, to get to the root cause of somebody who's not performing to what you really do believe is their ability, you will very often find, if you dig deep enough and have really skilled conversations with them, that they are so scared that they are going to run out of money. And everything that they've worked for is going to come crashing down on them.
Yeah.
So very often they will give every excuse under the sun as to why they're not doing certain things.
Yeah.
But the real problem is, I can't see how this is going to work, and I'm just going to run out of money.
Yeah.
I had that exact conversation with a new franchisee yesterday. I could see the fear in her face. She wasn't telling me. I could just hear a little bit of quavering in her voice. And I said, you know what, I don't think you quite understand. How much cash have you got in your bank at the moment?
Yeah.
And she told me to the penny how. I said, right, we start there.
Yeah.
And we look at how that's going to pan out over the next 6 months.
Yeah.
By the end of that 6 months, she tripled the amount of cash if she does what needs to be done. And it wasn't all that. And suddenly you saw her face light up, because she, now I can see ahead of me.
Yeah.
Now I can see ahead. And that gave her the confidence to take a couple of risks, because those risks in this next couple of months were playing out to go, the cash flow story. You will hit a dip.
Yeah.
You'll hit that bottom, and then it'll go. It gets a bit scary down here, but if you can see further, you can see the point at which you turn.
Yeah.
Then they go, right.
And it's always like that, isn't it? I mean, I found that even on my franchisor journey, that over the last 5 years, you think, gosh, you plow it in, and then the business takes off, and it will start to make financial sense.
Of course.
It was the same with every dom care business or the restaurant business. It was less nuanced, but the same. And and actually, you sort of look at
it's the same in our personal lives.
Yeah, well, absolutely.
As an employed person, you get a slug of cash coming at the beginning of the month, and then you just watch it drain away. Hope that you can. I said to this lady yesterday that I was talking to, I bet that every month you hope that you can get to the end of the month without running out.
Yeah.
Or the other one was, I wish I had more so that I could afford X, Y, Z.
Yeah.
And you're always going like this.
Yeah. That's very interesting. I think both of those two things are really interesting to me. Why do you not get out of that? And that to me sounds like fear, and sort of not digging into that fear or not having that skill conversation.
First thing is addressing that fear.
And then why somebody does. And I think, having that one of those critical skill sets sounds like it's key.
Yeah.
But also what it sounds like to me is believing in whatever system, certainly in franchising, believing in the system and implementing that system sounds like,
Sure.
sort of coupled with that.
Absolutely. The system is obviously crucial, but and once you get that success coming through, you get less people resisting the system.
Yeah.
They accept the top performers never resist the system, you'll find.
Yes.
They might offer suggestions as to how they'll collaborate with you to make improvements or test pilot processes out and services and new product, but they very, very rarely will bash you around the head and say, this doesn't work.
Yeah.
Well, it does.
Yeah, well, exactly. And you find that life transformation happening.
Yes, exactly.
I think for me, that's the most exciting part of the whole journey.
Sure. I mean, talking to a franchisor a couple of days ago, prominent franchisor operating here in the UK, States, Canada, Australia, over here for their peer group meeting of local UK franchisees. Those franchisees turning over anything from 800,000 to 1.5 million. One of those franchisees, no word of a lie, reported he was netting out of his business 250 grand a year.
I mean, yeah.
And still on an upward growth.
Yeah.
These are people who, as I said earlier, they have these crucial skills and a peer group to work within them.
I mean, and that's it, isn't it? I think if we can hammer that, I think often as a franchisor, it's really trying to sniff that out when you're going through the vetting process and saying, well, am I getting into this relationship with the right people in the first instance? Then, as a franchisee, I suppose it's really thinking about the same thing, as well, and just thinking about, well, is this relationship right for me? Are these people do they have the same level of appetite as I do? Well, because actually as a often I think as a franchisee you can find that the appetite level is not the same with the franchisor, and marrying those two things up can be really important to say, well, okay, the franchisor is willing to run as fast as you are and say, well, okay, well, what changes do we need to make, and how do we keep going? How do we go past that 1.4?
Yeah, absolutely. I think so your top performers will generally want that space to be able to just power ahead. They'll be the ones who maybe come to you and say, what's our policy on me going multi-brand?
Yeah.
What's our policy on multi-territory or multi-this or multi-that so that I can expand? And you may already have something like that in place. Some of your other franchisees may just... They should be in as best as possible working towards your expectations of a franchise, because every territory has an opportunity in it, which you, as the franchisor, would like to be maximised for obvious reasons. And so we have to align expectations. And then we have to be able to support them to achieve those expectations. Remembering, of course, right at the very beginning of the relationship, it is difficult to pull out of the new franchisees whether people have actually got these.
Yeah.
You're not going to sit down and say, right, there's a P&L, read it to me. What would you do, et cetera, et cetera. That leads us to our support teams. Our support teams must have those crucial skills and a very high degree of ability to coach, train, mentor those franchisees in all of those skills, which is why I say very, very often that support in the franchising world is underestimated in terms of its complexity and its value to growing a franchise brand. So many franchisors don't invest enough time, like I had when I was 21 years of age, learning all these skills. We very often bring support people in from externally, business development managers, sales managers, whatever it might have been, and we sort of say, well, yes, you know a lot about business, you've done it, so off you go and support, and it's not like that at all. These crucial skills that I've been talking about, all of those are independent learnings on their own that franchise support managers must be able to deal with on a daily basis, understanding the psychology of individual personalities of franchisees, how to work with them, what questions to ask them. Stop using the word need. You need to do this, and if you just did this, or if you read the operations manual, or etc. There's a lot more nuanced conversations to be had with franchisees, and that takes a lot of development of your franchise support team to achieve that.
I mean, that is just wonderful. I think that is so interesting. One of the things I often talk to new franchisees about when they're in that vetting process is speak to many different franchisors.
Yes.
And also try to speak to their support teams.
Yes.
And just see, because, I'll have a meeting with someone and then, I'm not going to be there providing their support on a daily basis. So great, maybe I know the nuances of the P&L.
Yes.
But does my team?
Correct.
And I think it's so important for you to, really get under the hood with that.
Yeah.
So thank you so much for this, Tim. I think the thing I'd like to ask you before I ask my last question, which is always about the one thing that you would say to get to the next million. But before we get to that, before we get to that actionable item, what is in store for Pinnacle in the next 5 years?
Now that's an interesting question. So for some who may be watching this, others who haven't been on LinkedIn and social media, etc., very recently, last year, I met the wonderful lady by the name of Nikki Senior, who is an ex-franchisor, very good at what she does. She understands it. She's a mindset coach. And we've come together and we've looked at these 12 crucial skills, and we've developed a program called The Bridge, which is directly aimed at helping franchisors develop their support teams. And so over the next 5 years, well, that's the first thing that we've brought into this umbrella brand called Franchise HQ. We're in the process of rolling that out this year, but in the background we're developing other support structures for franchisors and resources for franchisors to be able to tap into, specifically to upskill their support teams and their ability to provide great support for franchisees. So we might see Pinnacle disappear into the background. In fact, that's highly likely at some point, and Franchise HQ become the umbrella for hopefully the sector in the UK.
Well, I hope so too. I mean,
But I mean, you know, we launched the bridge earlier on this year in February. We've got February, March, April, May cohorts live at the moment. June's going live in June, obviously.
Yeah.
July July 2025 is also going live, and we're just talking to a brand to put their whole team on in August. So the idea is to launch one cohort per month, and the
Amazing.
program is a 12-month program for support professionals. So yeah, that's where we're going with Pinnacle.
amazing. Thank you. Thank you for sharing.
No, not a problem.
My final question is,
Yeah.
if you had to give somebody one actionable item to get to their next million, what would it be?
For me, that's an easy one. It would be to really understand communication styles, because once you understand communication, effective communication, you will that will open up a whole lot of other stuff. Second to that, financial literacy. I cannot stress it enough. Franchisors and franchisees, we hear it on Dragon's Den all the time, know your numbers.
Yes.
Understand the numbers, what they do, how they do it, why they do it, and you will find yourself empowered to make really good strategic decisions for your business.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wonderful.
Absolute pleasure.
I really appreciate you coming on.
Yeah, no, I really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. Thank God it wasn't raining.
Yeah, maybe next time. And until next time, I hope you enjoyed the episode with Tim Morris. And your next journey is £1 million through communication.